The UNC Pembroke Braves football team earned its first ever playoff win last week, a 24-21 triumph over Valdosta State. Full coverage of that game and the next round matchup is coming up on the Black and Gold Report. The men's and women's basketball teams have both gotten off to hot starts to their seasons. The men have recently picked up wins over Winston-Salem State and Wingate, and the women defeated Coker and Fayetteville State. The women play a pair of home games in the coming days on Sunday and Wednesday. UNCP Wrestling took on a pair of Division I opponents last weekend, losing to NC State and Air Force in Raleigh. In other wrestling news, freshman Bryce Walker was victorious in the 197-pound tournament at the Star City Open. Next up for the Braves is the Midwest Classic on December 17th. Finally, UNC Pembroke Swim and Dive concluded the 2016 portion of its schedule against Chowan last week. The Braves will compete in 4 more meets this season, all coming in January. We'll talk to head coach Rhonda Blank in a few minutes. The Black and Gold Report starts now. Welcome to another episode of the Black and Gold Report presented by Pepsi, a show all about UNC Pembroke athletics. I'm Cameron Songer, and this week we talk UNCP football as the Braves are on to the second round of the NCAA playoffs. We also check in with Swim and Dive midway through their season. First, it's my pleasure to be joined by UNCP football coach Shane Richardson. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Cam.
It was a thriller last weekend with UNCP picking up its first ever playoff win, 24-21, at Valdosta State. What were some of your thoughts walking off the field after that game?
Well, very excited, obviously. It was something where our guys had never won a playoff game before, and really being able to go down there and do that as kind of an underdog, so to speak, and go on the road in the playoffs to a very good Valdosta State team and program and tradition and history, and we were able to put 4 quarters together that really made us feel good about what we did. And so obviously very excited for our players, our coaches, everybody that touches the program, and I couldn't have been more thrilled on that day. I think something that goes along with that is actually it's an expectation for us to be able to be in this position. That was one of the things that we talked about with our team all week is it's not just a hope or a wish or a dream, and I would like our guys to actually think that way about us winning that game as well. I don't want to inflate that too much and blow that up too much and get it out of proportion. I want to stay grounded so that we can make sure that we take that enthusiasm, that excitement, that intensity, and that confidence that I think we gained out of that game and take it into this week as we go into North Alabama. And so while it was very exciting, I think it's still an expectation that we have our program at this level.
The win was also the 10th of the season for UNC Pembroke, a new school record for a single season. Can you put in perspective what that means for a program that's in just its 10th season?
Well, it's ironic that the 2 numbers are 10, and I think it's great. We had been at 9-1 at the end of the regular seasons for 3 years up until now, and then obviously being able to get a 10th win changes what those records look like, and I think it's neat for the people that look from afar. It's something that obviously is a great accomplishment for our program, our team, our coaches, everybody that associates themselves with it, being able to say that they were a part of this team. And so I think, it's something where hopefully success will breed success a little bit. And, there's something that we talk about with the guys is you don't want to ever limit yourself to, hey, we won 10 games and now we're all excited and we kind of stop there. We want to make sure that we're never satisfied. We want to make sure that we keep pushing, and ideally we just keep that number going and get it a little bit higher even.
Let's start in the first quarter, which saw the Braves score first en route to a 17-0 lead within the first few minutes of the second quarter. How did the defense set the tone early?
I was so proud of our defense in the way that we came out and set the tone. I thought our D-line did a fantastic job of getting after the quarterback. We covered well, but our defensive line and really our front seven they were able to put pressure on that quarterback all day long. I think we counted up, and we had 2 sacks, we had 10 quarterback hits, and we had 15 quarterback hurries on the day. And when you're doing that and you're kind of getting that quarterback running around and a little bit nervous and anxious, he has to throw the ball quicker. He has to try to panic a little bit if his first read isn't there, and we were able to rattle him a little bit. And obviously, if you can just keep putting a hat on him and being able to speed that time up as far as him being in the pocket, obviously them being the 7th ranked passing offense in the country going into that game, we were able to take away that a little bit, and it neutralized the game a little bit. And I thought just our defense did a great job of doing that, and I thought it really was a tone setter, and we were able to really follow that through with all 4 quarters of the game.
Valdosta State scored at the end of the second quarter, but the Braves held a 17-7 lead at the break. What was the atmosphere and tone in the locker room at halftime?
I think it was. I think we kind of started to let down just a little bit in the second part of that second quarter, and I wasn't very pleased with that last half of the second quarter of our team. I thought the game started to get a little bit out of control in terms of some extracurricular. I think both sides were getting chippy. There were some things that were going on each sidelines where players were getting over there, and a lot of talk was taking place. And I thought we just kind of started to lose focus, is what really happened. And we got kind of comfortable, I thought, with the score the way it was. And so then at halftime we had to refocus. And our seniors brought it up. They really had a great message for the group, and that it's very powerful when your players are kind of taking control of the message in the huddle, and we had seniors that were able to do that. And my message to them was, hey, there's one half of football here that you need to pour everything that you have into it, and we've come out and proven that we can get this thing done for a half. Now we've got to put together another great second half, and all great teams are second half teams, and I don't care if you have a lead or if you're behind or whatever. If you're a great team in the second half, you're going to prove that you can come out on top, and you're going to put yourself in a great position at the end.
We need to take our first time out, but we'll be back right after this.
Braves fans, season tickets for the 2016-17 home basketball season are on sale now, and premium chairback seats for the Peach Belt Conference's most electric environment can be purchased for as little as $70. This season's package includes 14 men's games and 13 women's games and can be purchased by calling 910-521-6361 or visiting uncpbraves.com/tickets.
Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. I'm joined once again by UNCP football coach Shane Richardson. In the third quarter, the Blazers cut it to a one-score game, but your team responded. What kind of maturity does it show in a high-stakes game like this?
Yeah, I think a lot. I think our guys stayed the course. I think they knew that everybody had to focus and lock in and do their job. What I really liked was we had kind of just a unity theme and tone amongst our sideline and amongst the way that we handled adversity and things that were going on. Guys were kind of consistently talking to each other and telling each other, hey, that's all right, don't worry about it, let's go, fight the next play and get ready for the next play. And I think there was a lot of value in that. Guys were very in tune to just our morale, our team mindset, and what we needed to do just to make sure that we didn't let the adversity jump on our back and change our momentum. And obviously it takes a lot of experience and maturity to do that, and I think our veterans stepped up and led the way on that one.
In the fourth quarter, the Braves were able to hold on to a 3-point lead in the final 7 minutes. What were some of the key players and key plays in the home stretch?
Well, I think Matt Quick obviously came up with 2 great interceptions. I think he had another tip ball. I think offensively B.J. Bunn was outstanding. There were definitely, and I'd go back to our defensive line. I just felt like those guys stood out to me all day long. They just continued to get pressure on the quarterback, got them out of rhythm, and they had virtually no running game. We shut that down, and I thought there were just guys collectively that did a great job. I really thought it was a great team effort win, and a lot of guys contributed and just did a lot of really good things for each other, and I thought we just played together as a team very, very well.
Speaking of some key players, let's start with All-American B.J. Bunn, who became the first receiver in school history to surpass the 1,000-yard mark. He had 8 catches for 153 yards a week after he was held to no catches against Concord. What changed in the passing game that worked for B.J.?
Well, B.J. Bunn was locked in this whole entire week, and I think we challenged him this week, and he knew that the last couple games he had not been as productive as what he needed to be. He had not been as sharp as what he needed to be in terms of grading out his assignments and his responsibilities, and I think he kind of took it a little bit personal, and he understood that he needed to step up more this week. He was locked in on this whole trip. Saturday morning, we got up for a walkthrough. He beat us outside in the hotel parking lot, and he was already pacing around out there before our position even got out there to walk around. And he was dialed in. I mean, his focus was just on a different level. His determination and desire to want to really do his best in this game was just, nobody was on his level at that point in time, and I think it showed for it. You know, the way that he caught the ball, the way that he came through in those clutch moments, had like 3 big third down catches that he converted. Just can't say enough about his competitive spirit and his drive on Saturday and the way that it really resonated with our whole team.
The man responsible for throwing the ball, Patrick O'Brien, threw 5 interceptions in the game. How do you overcome that and move forward to the next game?
Yeah, I think 5 interceptions extremely unacceptable, and we can't move forward if that's the case. However, I would say that one of them was right before halftime. We were trying to take a shot. It's probably poor coaching on our part. I made the call to go ahead and take the shot, and we just got to have them throw it out of bounds or something like that. And so that was a little bit of a gamble there. And then 3 other ones were tipped, kind of catchable balls by the receivers. However, obviously, he's got to be able to throw them into a more efficient, effective window and be more accurate. I think Pat O'Brien, he was still very in tune to this game. His demeanor didn't waver. We kept trying to build him up and keep his confidence level going. And you know what? It's for a competitor like Pat, a game like this is healthy and good for him to be able to bounce back, for the next one, and for him to be able to improve and rebound and build on some of these things that he maybe didn't do so well.
Senior running back Rontonio Stanley carried the ball 25 times for 125 yards. How big was this game for him and for the rest of the senior class?
Well, I think 3 years ago, Rontonio Stanley kind of exploded on the scene down at Valdosta State, and I think Rontonio remembered that game. I think that gave him confidence going back to the stadium, and I think he took that into Saturday's game with him. And obviously he has the ability to break long runs. He's a very good running back for us. I think guys rally around him, and he's got really just the ability to find a crease and be able to hit it quickly. And he's got great acceleration, and so if we just give him a little bit of room, he's able to turn a little bit of something into a lot more. And we just got to continue to find ways to get him the ball and to be able to make sure that we give him a crease, and I think he can continue to help our team in the running game.
Stay tuned to the Black and Gold Report. We'll be back with more from UNCP football. Another one of the seniors, defensive back Matthew Thomas Quick, had 2 clutch interceptions in the 4th quarter, including the game clincher. He didn't have an interception in the first 10 games. Talk about the day and the season he had.
Matt Quick, this game was a game that he really kind of elevated his play, shone through as an experienced veteran guy. There were some games this season that we had talked about Matt Quick and saying, wow, as a senior, we need to have a little bit more out of him. We've got to be able to have him step up and make some of these plays. And we challenged him with some of that stuff. And I think this game you saw that he was able to cover some pretty good receivers, some pretty fast athletes out there, and did a fantastic job of doing that. And all year long, I think he's been able to battle and set a great example for the secondary and those younger guys that he has playing around him. And he's been a good leader, and he's taken charge of that. And so I think Saturday was just a reflection of who he has been as a player in our program in terms of how he prepares and how he goes about approaching the game.
The rest of your defense also made a bunch of plays, 3 sacks on VSU quarterback Adam Robles and 2 other interceptions. How has the defense progressed this year to reach this point now in the playoffs?
I think defensively we had our best game on Saturday, and I think it was just the most pure form of us getting great pressure up front, stopping the run, being able to get takeaways, being able to limit their passing attack. I thought there was just a lot of really good things, and when we watched the film, guys were covering, guys were collisioning, they were stopping their routes from getting downfield. I just thought it was a collective defensive effort that was out there that really had shown through maybe a little bit differently than what it has in the past all year long. And so if this is us starting to peak as a defense, it's a really good thing. But I would say that our defense stepped up and probably played its most complete game of the year against Valdosta, and I'm looking forward to them doing it again this Saturday, and we can build on that.
Next up is the regional semifinal against top-seeded North Alabama. UNCP has never beaten UNA, and the teams have met in the playoffs before in 2013. What can you tell us about the Lions?
Very good program, great history, and as you said, Cam, they have success against us from the previous times that we've met, and obviously they're going to be a challenge. They're #1 in the region for a reason. They've not lost to any Division II school this year. They're a very good team, and their quarterback was the conference player of the year in their conference offensively, and he's going to be tough to stop. I think defensively they're physical, they're fast, they've got athletes at every single position. Now with that being said, our message to our team is going to be pretty simple, and we're going to just build on the things that we've done. I mean, we're not going to back down. We're not going to go in there and thinking too much of who our opponent is. And like we always say, it's how we play. It's not who we play. And so we're going to stay true to making sure that the focus is on us, making sure that the focus is on how we execute and how hard we play on Saturday. And we're looking to come out and try to match and even raise our level of intensity and grittiness and the toughness and the relentlessness that we showed on Saturday, and be able to take that to a next level. And on top of that, we want to execute a little bit better, and ideally we're going to be putting ourselves in a good position here down the stretch.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after these messages on the Black and Gold Report.